Welcome back. The military strikes on Iran, the ongoing support for Ukraine and its war against Russia, all putting renewed pressure on America's defense industrial base. The growing demand for weapons and military equipment intensifying around production capacity, critical suppliers, and the strength of American defense supply chain. That was a major focus at this week's Pennsylvania Defense and Innovation Summit, where President Trump made the keynote speech, full of major defense announcements. Watch this.
We're announcing nearly $10 billion of new investments in our defense industrial base right here in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. No state has been more central to protecting that freedom than the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is where America declared its independence, where George Washington crossed the Delaware, where the Union was saved by the heroes of Gettysburg. Pennsylvania will play a key role in building the arsenal of freedom to defend our nation. In the modern world, we have things happening in this state.
And the CEO of Exiger was there, Brandon Daniels, at the summit. He led a panel on the U.S. economy and foreign affairs. He also released Exiger's new Pennsylvania Defense Industrial Base Report, examining the state's role in strengthening America's defense manufacturing ecosystem. Exiger CEO Brandon Daniels joins us right now. Brandon, great to have you. Thank you so much for being here. And Exiger uses AI-powered technology for supply chain management. Tell us what your big takeaway was from the summit yesterday.
Well, Maria, thank you for having me on. It's good to see you again, as always. So my biggest takeaway yesterday was Senator McCormick, the president, have rallied the entire defense, technology, manufacturing base to a new freedom forge. They want to inspire a new generation of machinists, a new generation of technologists, a new generation of workers to get out and drive the defense industrial base in a way that we haven't seen since World War II. And I really feel more optimistic that we can do it than ever.
Yeah, I love the idea, and President Trump obviously prioritizes national security, and that is also behind this as our adversaries are on the march. How is AI changing that? Is AI contributing to that, and can you identify how the defense backdrop has changed from, for example, 5 years ago, now that we are using more defense tech?
So the change is unbelievable. So before, there were a lot of studies to determine what we should do in the defense industrial base. A lot of work and a lot of research to understand what were the choke points, where our issues potentially were in the supply chain. Today, we're not just staring at the problem, we're actually taking action on it. So, for instance, there are major investments that the Pentagon has been doing, that the federal government has been doing, major private-public partnerships that the Army has been doing to establish new defense technology opportunities, both in artificial intelligence, but also in just core manufacturing, right? And so when you think about what AI can do, AI can help train the new workforce. So, areas of metallurgy, areas of castings and forgings, areas of manufacturing that have either become more complex over time or have, arcane knowledge that needs to be passed to a new generation, AI can help to educate them.
Yeah,
the second thing is, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, please.
The second thing is AI can automate a lot of the manufacturing process itself. And so we can be cost competitive with countries like China and Vietnam and Malaysia because we don't need 2,000 workers all paid a low wage to produce 2,000, 3,000, 10,000, 1 million items. We could take a factory of 100 workers, 200 workers, 1,000 workers, and do the work of 10,000 now.
Yeah.
And so AI can also help us to compete at a cost-effective rate, Maria.
Well, I mean, this is one of the reasons that President Trump has prioritized things like rare earth metals and minerals, critical minerals that we need for the defense backdrop, for our economy. Can the U.S. realistically build these supply chains and make them secure for things like rare earths, even semiconductors, and not rely on China?
So we absolutely have that opportunity. In fact, when we were in Pennsylvania, one of the things that we talked about was not just the Pennsylvania workforce, not just the Pennsylvania small businesses that are creating components for the entire defense apparatus. We talked about the natural resources. For instance, in 2024, you remember when China put export controls on germanium, gallium, and antimony.
Right.
Well, one of the major ways that you can actually source that is by recycling coal waste and fly ash. And you can actually extract those minerals from a lot of that existing refuse in Pennsylvania. And Penn State has been working on that. And this kind of story, Maria, is not just a Pennsylvania story. It's an American story. There are opportunities like this everywhere, from Alabama to Arizona.
Yeah.
And so I think what the president has done and what Senator McCormick have done is they've really created a rallying cry around automation inside of our manufacturing, training a new workforce, and then actually building the capabilities from raw materials all the way up to the weapon systems in the United States and showing people it's possible, because it truly is. But we have a small window, Maria, because, you know, China's on the march and our adversaries are on the march, and they're looking to continue to conduct economic warfare against the United States. We estimate that there's about $100 billion of illegal transshipment coming into the U.S. every year and taking 2.5 million U.S. jobs because they're evading tariffs and because they are flooding our industries with artificially cheap goods.
Yeah, and President Trump is aware of that. That's why they're doing all of these investigations in terms of trade and what it will mean for tariffs. And at the same time, China's economy is slowing. We've got new data out of Beijing. It shows second quarter economic growth slowed to 4.3%. That's down from 5% in the first quarter. Look, exports, meanwhile, surged 27%, largely due to sales of technology, batteries, advanced manufacturing. Lawmakers are warning China is rapidly closing the gap in areas critical to future military and economic power. And I spoke with the House China Select Committee Chairman John Muhlenar yesterday about it. Here's what he said.
Well, they sure are on our heels, and we do have a lead. We do have the best chips, most high-end chips, but they are dramatically improving their game, and they're trying to access as much as our technology and technologies to benefit their rise, both economically, technologically, and militarily. And so that's something we need to be very concerned about, continue to keep our lead, protect our key technologies, and make sure we are not enabling our foremost adversary to improve their military capabilities that could be used against us.
I mean, it's incredible to me, Brandon, that President Trump was the first president to actually take a look at all of these issues and demand change. I mean, you know, this competition with China has been going on a long time, and China has been undermining the United States for decades. And yet it's President Trump who came into the Oval Office and said, we need our own secure supply chains. We need these supply chains back in America. We cannot rely on China for prescription drugs and semiconductors. I'm grateful that the president did that, but it's amazing to me that he was the first person to actually point out the obvious, Brandon. So if you had to brief President Trump on the single greatest supply chain threat today, what would it be, and what should he do in the next 12 months?
Maria, it's the race for AI dominance, 100%. Right now, China has an unemployment rate that they're suppressing, by the way, for people between the ages of 18 and 24, an unemployment rate of 30%.
Wow.
Because they are just pushing out as much AI automation as possible, because they know there are going to be 400 million great jobs in AI automated factories and AI automated sectors, and they want to be the people that grab those jobs. You know, the United States will be the place, if President Trump is allowed to continue this agenda, the United States will be the place that will get those jobs. And I think that AI race is the most important thing for the next 2 decades, maybe even 100 years.
Real quick here, which industries do you think are making the best progress, the fastest progress toward onshoring, bringing their supply chains home?
I think the chip industry has done a phenomenal job. You know, there are companies like Coherent that are even standing up things like core indium capacity inside of the United States. Obviously, energy has done a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And so I think, and then finally, core defense industrial base manufacturing is on the surge with companies like Hadrian and Divergent.
Yeah, great point there. We're seeing lots of innovation there. Brandon, great to talk with you this morning. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right, Brandon Daniels joining us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.